Hello and welcome to another video. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make bass music in the style of Anne's, inspired by her Losing Twos EP. The project file, samples and presets are available for a small contribution in the description. I've been close to 19,000 subs for a while, but it'd be great to get to 20,000 before the end of the year, so please consider subscribing. You can also leave suggestions for other artists you'd like me to cover in the comments. All of the third-party plugins used in this project are free, aside from Serum 2, and I've linked them below. Our BPM is 132. I'm in the key of G sharp Phrygian dominant, although this style isn't particularly melody focused. First we have the kick, and I've selected this roomy kick. I'm utilizing a busy, groovy pattern using plenty of dotted notes. Clipping distortion can be quite transformative, and here I'm using G-clip. Next we have the rest of the drums, starting with the snares. Here we have a break snare, which is mostly layered with this electronic bongo sample, with the rim used for fills. For the break snare and the bongo, I've taken the fades up by about 15 milliseconds, since I noticed the snare in Losing Twos has quite a soft attack. I've used a low pass filter to soften the rim, and this is another technique heard in Losing Twos on the snare. Next up, we have the high percussion. We have these two hats. And two tambourine loops. Let's listen to these in the mix so we can hear what they add. In Losing Twos, Anne's uses a sequenced one-shot tambourine sample, so this is another option. I've got an auto pan doing a mild sidechaining effect to these loops to help create more dynamics and bounce. So on the high percussion group, we have this rack, which contains the legacy version of Redux and vinyl saturation, and this is in parallel. Plus some EQ and wider. Next we have the perks. There are these two taikos. The first one is working like an impact, and the second one more or less follows the kick pattern. Finally, we have two clavs, which are tuned to notes in the key of the track. Since much of the percussion in this project is quite tonal, I would recommend tuning these types of samples, as well as the bongos and congas if you're able to, as this can help the percussion feel more cohesive. I've added additional reverb to the clav group, and this is inspired by Gary Mission. We're almost at 60%, and we're using a short reverb. I've applied this drum groove to everything in the drums group. aside from Tycho 1, and I've also applied it to the chants, which we'll have a look at later. I noticed a triplet groove in Loos in 2s, and I've used a 2-step shuffle to emulate this. On the drums group, there's mild drum bus, parallel compression, saturation, and EQ. I'm using the kick to sidechain the low frequencies, and you might recognize this sub sidechain rack from some of my other videos. This helps the kick punch through the drum elements below a certain frequency, which in this case is 150 Hertz. Reverb is applied via send A, and for this project I'm using this basement preset. Next up we have the bass. Oscillator A is this square wave taken down by 2 octaves, which is running into this low pass filter with its cutoff modulated by LFO1. This amp envelope has a ramping up attack and then a longer decay. Think of it a bit like a short 808 with a long attack. In the effects we have distortion and a filter. On the channel there's an EQ to remove a low end rumble. Again we have the kick sidechaining the sub frequencies using the rack I showed you earlier. Then we have more sidechaining using the TDR Nova, which is attenuating the bass at the fundamental frequency of the kick, which in this case is 69 Hz or C#2. Finally, we have the effects. Starting with an impact. My arrangement is fairly maximalist, and I did find myself removing a few percussion elements late on in production since Ans's style is quite minimal. But when I tried to remove these impacts, the arrangement felt too barren. Then we have the weird effects, starting with the sci-fi effects, which was created using a preset from Infiltrator, although this isn't required for this project as I've bounced the sound. This is the original source sound. I've used an auto pan to create that pumping sidechain effect. Then we have these other two effects. These types of effects are inspired by Gary Mission. Next up, we have a couple of laser sounds. Laser 1 has an echo applied, and this is laser 2. Next, we have the ambience. I've made sure to remove some lows so it doesn't interfere with the kick and bass. And finally, we have the chants. These were inspired by Stepper, and I find using some human voice type elements can help humanize tracks in this style without using sung or rapped vocals. These are in a choke group, so when one chant starts, it cuts the other. There's an echo on the channel, and I'm using it to add a subtle tail to the chants. On the group, there's parallel compression, saturation, EQ, chorus, and more sub sidechain using the kick as a trigger. Reverb is applied via A. And that's the video. Please leave any questions in the comments, and I hope you found this tutorial informative. I'll see you in the next one.